Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to Emotional Evolution, where we focus on our own emotional evolution because when we change, life around us changes. This is basically for you if you're someone who wants to be solution focused, if you want to look at what you can do in your situation that might seem dire and see what mindset shifts, what habit shifts you can make to function better, and to come out your best out of a difficult situation. So, just introducing myself, I'm Amira and I have done relational healing work and inner child work, as well as intergenerational trauma, all from a coaching perspective, as well as some psychotherapy work. And I'm wanting to share this information with you as a weekly motivation so you keep strong on your journey as we change. If anyone has done any work on themselves, they do know that we can gain all the understanding that is available. However, it's only when we actually implement those changes, we actually exercise a different way of thinking, a different belief system, that's when habits and patterns shift. And so I want this as a resource for you to help support you shift that. And one of the topics I wanted to talk about, I think almost everyone has a way of doing this, is self sabotage. Um, I want to bring this to us because self sabotage is one of those things that we may do very unintentionally. Sometimes we go into self sabotage because we want to avoid something difficult. It could be like micro self sabotage, like, you've got some paperwork due, you've got to do something difficult or have a difficult conversation. So instead of going there and doing it, you connect with yourself by going and grabbing a chocolate bar, or getting into something that's more familiar, like might be housework for you or your actual work, or doing something else to distract yourself. So we can go into a lot of avoidance strategies to keep us self-sabotaging away from the thing we really want. There's that avoidance, there's a distraction, and getting ourselves distracted with anything other than what we actually need to do. A lot of the time, if it's a more severe self sabotage, like for example, you've been told that you're unwell and you're actively like eating and doing all the things that you're not meant to do to get better. When that happens, sometimes what's happened is we've had an upbringing based on fear, and we're very sensitive to being shamed and blamed. And even though if someone looks like they're outwardly really confident, they may internally feel really insignificant. So anyone who looks like they really think that they're very confident, or they're coming across as really confident, or they're coming across as um, very unconfident, we all have a sensitivity to being shamed. And when we are like that, we can have stronger self sabotaging characteristics. And some of that might look like, not taking the right treatment we need to, not eating the right foods, sabotaging our relationships, even. And this is a big one. Often, when we've been modeled unhealthy relationships, instead of going and finding out, okay, what does a healthy relationship look like? Because what I saw at home wasn't healthy. We we can just continue on thinking that we're okay and not get the help that we need. And in turn, we can actually actively participate in sabotaging the relationship. And the most confusing thing about this one is you might think you're not doing the bad stuff, but when you don't know how to engage with the chaos, or if someone is more chaotic, if you don't know how to engage with that or disengage with that, that in itself is a self sabotage. Keeping yourself in an unhealthy space is a self sabotage. Even those micro self sabotages, like not going to the gym when you physically need to because you've got like some sort of injury, not exercising where you need to exercise, they're all self-sabotaging behaviors. And a lot of this is actually not logical, it's emotional. And I wanted to bring this point up quite strongly, that a lot of the time we try to create solutions out of logic that is a very separate center of the brain than our emotions, because we know to do things logically. However, where we fall short is our emotional self. Emotionally, we, even though we understand A, B, and C logically, we reach for the alternative, which is all the emotional stuff. So we are actually more strongly wired as emotional beings opposed to logical beings. And this work is about really understanding what's the emotional stuff coming up for you. Because often, if there is emotional stuff coming up, it is unprocessed traumas, and those traumas can be big traumas or little traumas. It could be a trauma of neglect, and neglect sounds like a massive word, but even like in the past generation, what we call neglect today is not what they called neglect. So, for example, getting a baby to sleep through controlled crying, and let's say the baby was really needy and was suffering in some sort of way, that is considered a type of neglect. There's so many accidental neglects that can happen that I'm sure parents don't ever want to do or don't realize, but all of that can impact the way we are emotionally and how we might feel out of control and go into these self-sabotage states. So, in a nutshell, just summarizing, however we've been wired from 0 to 6, whatever we've understood of the world around us, if we've been given the message that you don't matter, or you come last, or you're too lazy, or you ought to do this right, or you never do that right, if we've been given if we've taken on a negative persona of ourselves, we are more prone to acting out that. So we are more prone to self-sabotaging traits, like not caring for ourselves properly, not advocating for ourselves properly, not being honest about how we truly feel. Even that is a sabotage, because when we do that, we silently are exiting a relationship. It could even be the relationship with your parents. If you're not like kindly vocal about what's going on for you, you're not giving them an opportunity to understand what's going on in your world. Therefore, you won't feel connected. So even though these things might feel innocent, in the long term, they do result in unhealthy relationships, or they result in certain addictive habits and patterns. And my goal is to bring awareness around this so we can at least get the help we need or get the supports we need, because it is an issue that will grow. It doesn't just go away. It's something that we need to address. And there are some like really basic tools we can learn about how to navigate this stuff. It doesn't have to be confusing. There's a very clear method on how to work through it. And why keep suffering when there is a way forward, inshallah. So hopefully when we learn this stuff, we can be that stronger part, we can be that stronger self, and we can learn how to calm our emotions down, understand why we're avoiding or doing certain things that we do, and our logical self will be much better succinct with our emotional self. So that's the aim. So if you found this useful, I know it was all kind of said and done in a nutshell. Please like and share, and let me know what you're wanting more of. I'd be happy to provide you with more of what you want, and also more detail, because I know I'm skimming the surface. So yeah, happy to hear what's on your mind and what would be more useful. Anyway, looking forward to speaking with you guys next week, and hope you have a great week. Assalamu alaikum.